every Chilean eats an average of 90 kilos of bread a year. Of these, 72 kilos correspond to the famous bread marraqueta or pan batido or pan francés, as you like to name it. The origins of the marraqueta were separated in two different stories. The first one says that in the time of the independence, like in 1810 approximately, with the arrival of the colonists, appeared a lot of different types of bread, like ayuyas, coalizos, and bollos, by Spain. And from France, they brought the baguette, that is the bread of which descends the marraqueta. Then, in the sector of La Chimba, in a Spanish bakery, the marraqueta was started to be sold. And this is the first story that have no much sense. Second one, which is the one that I personally prefer, it talks about two French brothers that arrived to Chile at the beginning of the 20th century. They were surnamed Marraquet, and they started to sell this popular bread in the port of Valparaiso, and that is why the bread at all it was named Marraqueta, in honor to the brothers Marraquet. So this story would explain the three principal names it has: beaten bread or pan batido, because of the process that it has to have, that it's basically beaten the dough for a long time. Marraqueta, in honor to the brothers Marraquet, as I have recently said, and French bread or pan francés, in honor to the nationality that these two brothers have. But in fact, there are no much evidence that support these two stories, so we will never know what the real origin of the marraqueta was. And there are two mainly reasons of why I will teach you today how to make beaten bread. The first one is pretty simple, because I honestly like to eat beaten bread for the breakfast, for the dinner, even for the lunch, and for everything really. And the second reason is because my grandfather owns a bakery called Panadería Gudari, that there are 5 bakeries in Chile functioning, which are located in Villa Alemana, Villa Independencia, Achupayas, and the last one is ubicated in Miraflores. And it is for this and more than today I'm gonna teach you how to make beaten bread or pan batido. Now let's start with the production of the marraqueta, that I decided to divide this in 3 different parts. The first one corresponds to the elaboration of the dough. The second one is giving the final shape and form to this popular bread. And the third one, finally, corresponds to the cooking and the enter of the dough to the furnace. But for making the beaten bread, we must go to the bakery. So let's go now! So here we are now in the bakery. So let's start with the first step, that is the elaboration of the dough. Materials that we will need to use are 50 kilos of farina or flour, 1 kilogram of salt, 27 liters of water, and the last one, but really important, is the yeast. But this we will use 200 grams of yeast, or known as levadura.
For the first step of the elaboration of the marraqueta, we are going to use an industrial mixer.
So we grab the salt, 1 kilogram of salt, and we throw it into the machine. Then we put a sack of flour. Then we grab another. we got the 50 kilograms of flour. And we need 27 liters of water. So we grab this, we put it into the machine, and we open the key. Then we have something that show you how water have you used, and that is the way that we know that these are 27 liters of water. As you can see, we have this a bit weird mix, and as we put all the things, at least the last one is the yeast or levadura, known in Spanish. And we just throw it. As we have the mix, we just turn on the machine to start everything. There you can see that the machine starts to mix everything.
At this point we just have to wait 15 minutes and let the machine do its job.
We have the mass, and then we cut it, and we grab a piece of mass with an approximately weight of 3 kilograms and 800 grams. So we grab a piece of mass, we roll it here, and so we put it into the machine, and then we put this lever, and then 4, 3, 2, 1, and we got the balls. We grab 2 balls, then we put them together like this, and then we just do like this. And then put in the wooden table, we put it together, and like this, make a lot of them. Making now all these marraquetas. We grab oil, some normal oil, grab a little bit, and then we start to brush like this, and it's just not much, just to get some shiny.
The yeast is a living fungus, and what it does is convert the starch sugars that we have in the flour into carbonized gas. What will help us is to increase the volume of the dough in the fermentation process. This process is repeated twice. The first time is simply to wait and be able to give it the final shape, while the second time is merely so that the bread gets more volume and is more pleasant when it comes to consuming it.
So now, as the fermentation first process has ended, we grab the masses like this, we put it in the cloth with flour, we grab a metal stick, a normal metal stick, and then we grab it, we push it, we turn around a little bit, and then we turn around the mass and cover with the cloth. Yeah. So this process, doing with all the masses or the things you have in your case. You push, you turn around the mass, and by this is the process of bending. It's pretty easy, really.
I couldn't record the audio at this moment, as the bakers were too busy doing their job and making a lot of noise. Anyways, as you can see, the yeast had made its effect, and the dough have taken much more volume than they had. So now, as you can see, I am putting the dough on a wooden board to be able to put them inside the oven and let them cook. It was a little difficult this part, so the master Henry could help me a little bit. Once in the oven, we have to wait 12 minutes with a temperature of approximately 200 Celsius degrees. As the time has passed, with the same wooden board, we take the bread out of the oven.
Poor master. He was only trying to help me. This last process was really difficult to me because taking off the bread from the furnace with that wooden table, it was really, really difficult. And then, as we finished, we have our favorite bread for the breakfast, the pan batido. And the final step is just eat the bread with your favorite condiments, with a cup of tea, and share with everyone. Now I must thank the bakers for lending me the bakery and the entire Goodary Bakery team, especially the master Eustenio, the master Luis Ramirez, and the master Henry Beriseños.